Okay, so it is New Year's here in Costa Rica, but of course the joke is it's also New Year's everywhere else in the world. But we're just about to have a little buffet supper, and one of the things that Dar just did was the patacones video, and she's busily now heating up some little taco-y things. So I'm going to show you how to make guacamole, which isn't like rocket science, but I do want to talk about 2 or 3 different ways that you can make guacamole, and also a couple of little kitchen tips as we go along. Okay, so let's just go over what we need to do this. Obviously we need an avocado. And this one is just about right. If you're back in Canada or in the United States, you're just going to probably pick up a lime or a lemon because you need some kind of citrus. This is called a limon mandarina. And so lemons actually, or limon down here actually means lime. And the reason this is called a mandarina is immediately apparent when I cut it in half. And that's because it's actually quite orange. I've got a bit of salt, I've got a bit of hot sauce, I've also got a clove of garlic, a container of mayonnaise with limon or lime juice in it, and I also have a bottle here of coconut oil, and I'm not sure what I'm doing with that, but I'm playing around, so we'll see what happens. And last but not least, grab a bowl. Now what I'm going to do is show you 3 different ways that you could do this, and or at least talk about 3 different ways, and I'm kind of like going on a bus trip. There are bus stops along the way. So I'm going to make this in its bare, simplest form first, and then talk about things that you could add to change the flavor or do things differently. So let's get right to that avocado. You want to have a sharp knife for anything that you're doing in the kitchen. So we actually brought this little gadget and this little knife along. This is a knife sharpener that we picked up at Lee Valley, which works really well, and a very sharp little knife. A sharp knife in the kitchen is really an important thing. If you've got a dull knife, what tends to happen is the knife rolls because it's not sharp, and that's how you get cut. So we like really sharp knives, and what we're going to do with this pair is just cut straight through, and all I'm doing now is just whipping right around the pit in the middle. And so I'm pivoting right around, and now I can give it a twist, and it's going to pop right apart, just like that. Now we've got the pit to worry about. What you can do is dig in with your fingers just like that. I think I'll do it that way today and pop it right out. Another approach that I just learned is to whack it like that with the knife and get the knife stuck in the pit and then give it a twist and it'll pop right out. Okay, so now we've got the 2 pairs, and the easiest way to peel them is with your fingers. So we're just going to dig in like this. So what we want to do is then just dice it. And I like to just cut it into long slices and then turn the whole thing around and cube it. So I'm going to whack it into little cubes. Now I like my guacamole to have a little bit of chunk to it. If you want a more fine guacamole, you can do that too, and just mash these pieces a little bit smaller. Now normally, when I've got a nice ripe avocado, when I mix things together with a fork later on, it'll actually smush up. Here you can see as I'm pushing on it, it's pretty hard. Alright, so what we want to do for a really basic guacamole is to add a bit of salt. So I'm just going to put a pinch of salt in there and mix in with my fingers, like that. And I've got a measuring cup right here, which I'm going to squeeze these limons into, because this particular limon has a ton of seeds in it, and we don't want that in the guacamole. So we'll just give that a squish. We're getting probably, I don't know, what have we got there, maybe a tablespoon and a half of juice. And we'll strain that by just grabbing a fork out of the drawer and sticking that right over the end of the spout, and then just pouring the juice on like that. And once again we're going to give it a stir with our fingers. Now this is a bus stop, so as you can see, this is a really chunky looking guacamole, and it's just as fresh as it could be. Now that's a good place to stop, and you can put that on a cracker or put that on a chip, and that tastes really good. Another thing you could do at this stage, and I looked in the refrigerator and we don't have any tomatoes, but you could chop up a tomato and add that. So the next thing to do is add some hot sauce. So I'm putting in, I'm actually finishing the bottle. That's probably about 1/4 teaspoon of hot sauce and just a splash of coconut oil. And I'm going in with my fingers again. Now I'm going to put some fresh garlic in this, and that's another bus stop. Another thing you can do is roast some garlic in the oven and add that to the guacamole, and that's quite nice. So I just cut the end off of that little garlic clove. I'm taking my little paring knife, sitting it on top, smacking it with the back of my hand, or the heel of my hand rather, and that makes it really easy to peel the garlic. Now we're going to just cut it into a few pieces and make it into a fine dice. Important to remember why blades are curved on knives, other than Japanese knives, which tend to be flat. They're curved so you can do what I'm doing, and that's basically rock the knife. So you push it all into a little pile, get it off your fingers, and I'm basically holding, I'm left-handed, pardon that, and it makes it a little more complicated for seeing what I'm doing, but I'm holding the tip with 2 of my fingers so it doesn't come off the cutting board, and then I'm just going up and down like that. So at home we've got a little gadget that Graham Kerr used to call a spurtle, which is kind of like a pastry knife or a flat little gadget for lifting stuff up after you've cut it. You can just use the knife like that. Fingers again, and we've got now guacamole with garlic. And here's the last part of the bus stop. Dar's a big fan of mayonnaise added to our guacamole, and so we have it in little Tetra Packs here so that it stays fresh in the fridge. That's about a tablespoon of mayonnaise in that amount of avocado, and now I'm not going to put my fingers in there. I'll just use a couple of forks, and that just makes it a little creamier. So now we've got some really nice fresh guacamole with fresh garlic and hot sauce, a little bit of salt, a little bit of coconut oil, and just a touch of lime flavored mayonnaise. And that looks like that.